the first part of our show, I'm joined by Bob Varity from Groundwork Elizabeth. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mayor.
And Jonathan Phillips, the Executive Director of Groundwork Elizabeth. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And Rich Podrisky, the head of the EMTs here in our city.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're probably the most important guy, Rich, to make sure nobody winds up in the back of one of your wagons, right?
We've been pretty good with that.
That's right. That's a good thing. This year marks the 4th annual Tour de Elizabeth, and it looks like it's getting to be a great tradition, as all of you are proud of. And basically, how do you put an event like this together, Jonathan? Maybe we'll start with you. I guess it was your idea when you owned the bike shop, right?
Well, actually, the man right next to me here, Bob Varity.
Bob's idea.
Actually, it was an idea of myself, Jonathan, and Eddie Mellage, who we all were talking one day about having a bike ride to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Jonathan's bike store. And Eddie said, well, why don't we go talk to the mayor? And we talked to you. You thought it was a good idea, and we put it together. To answer the question you were talking to about Jonathan, it takes about 7 or 8 months of meeting. We meet monthly, and now we have it down to pretty much of a routine. But it still takes a lot of organization with our police, our ambulance service bureau, and then getting out the word and publicity, getting hopefully getting a good number of riders out.
And what's the difference in this year's ride?
This year we have two significant differences. One is in the course, where we're going to take people through Warnaco Park. Last year we went straight up Elmore Avenue to Rawway Avenue, then back into the downtown section. This year we're actually going to take people into Warnaco Park, which I think is great, because the first 3, I love looking at the people and their reaction who are from out of town, who are, in awe of the beauty in Elizabeth, of the Elmora section, what's been going on down Elizabeth Port, the economic development there, when they see the mall. And people who haven't been in Elizabeth in a long time really look at it and say, wow, things are going great. And I think when they look at Warnaco Park with the cherry blossoms out and the blooms, flowers blooming, they're going to love it. The second thing is we have a new logo this year, which is 3 riders going under the Elizabeth Arch. In years past, we had what Jonathan's wearing, our skyline, and this year the T-shirt is going to be 3 riders coming under the arch, and also you're going to get a free baseball hat.
Oh, good.
Sign up.
And Rich, the Elizabeth Police Department has been working the tour and you for the last couple of years. Can you tell us a little bit about the work the EMS does there?
We provide rehab for the riders, and we have a treatment station set up in case any riders take a fall or heat exhaustion. We have misting fans set up if it's a hot day. Water bottles we supply for rehydration.
Any health tips before, during, and after the ride?
They should drink plenty of fluids before.
Make sure they bring them.
Yes.
And then what about during the ride? They should drink plenty of fluids during the ride.
There'll be water stations throughout the ride.
And then after the ride?
At the end of the ride, there's I believe there's water in this.
We'll have water, fruit, power bars, things of that to replenish. But
now go ahead.
The biggest thing is ride your bicycle.
Ride your bicycle ahead of time. But was it last year we had a young lady break her leg, right?
An ankle, yes.
An ankle.
Yeah.
She fell off would she fall off the bicycle, or
yes.
She was mortified. I called her a couple of days later. She said she was doing real well.
Yeah.
Was it actually in the bike ride, or was it before it got started?
I think it was in it. It was in the bike ride.
It was in the bike ride.
Yeah.
And you guys responded, and
yes.
She was very grateful.
We actually have the ambulance follow the riders. This way, if they fall throughout the ride, they're right there to pick them up.
Okay. Jonathan, it takes a lot to put on an event like this. What kind of sponsors do you get?
I would just like to say one thing in the safety regard, is that we've had nearly almost 1,000 riders in 3 years. This is the first time we had a serious accident, so that's a pretty good ratio.
Oh no, and she was so grateful for the response, and she was just she's riding this year.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's coming back to ride this year. She told me.
Yeah, my point is it's a really safe, fun, enjoyable ride. You could be 8 years old, you could be 80 years old.
You think I was scaring people away when I talked about a lady with a broken leg?
I just want people to realize that it's not a really difficult course at all. What was that question again, man?
The question was, it takes a lot to put an event like. What do you think of the sponsors? Do we have?
We have wonderful sponsors. We have the Elizabeth Development Company Urban Enterprise Zone for the 4th year in a row, Vilu Construction for the 2nd year, Elberon Construction Company. They're called Portview this year, but this is again their 4th year, and we have Activist Elizabeth LLC, formerly known as Alpharma Pharmaceuticals, as our lead sponsors. We have many other sponsors besides that, too many to mention, but of course the riders themselves become sponsors also.
And 1 year, Bob, there was was it a 6-year-old girl or a 7-year-old girl was the last rider in with her dad?
Yeah, and we had, with a
Or was it a boy? It was
a 7-year-old boy with a full police escort, motorcycles,
Right.
police cars, with his father came in as the last 2 riders, and it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was, because they were coming up the street there, and you had all the police on the motorcycles and the ambulance following him in.
And in fact, if you recall, a few weeks ago, we had the governor and Hillary Clinton here, and I think this kid and his dad got a better police escort in than did the politicians.
That's right.
So it was fun.
Can people still register to ride?
Most definitely. They can register even on the day of the ride, which is, again, May 20th, a Sunday morning, 9 a.m. And I'm going to make this one-time special TV offer to the members of the community. Technically, May 10th is a cutoff date for paying only $10 instead of $15. But if they mention this television show, we will allow them to just pay the $10 all the way up to the 20th of
So is this an attempt to gauge how many people actually watch the show, Jonathan, by doing this and want to ride? There's probably some kind of mathematical equation that can figure that out.
I'll let the viewers decide that.
Rich, what happens if people become tired halfway through the ride or in the beginning of the ride, can't do it anymore? You pick them up,
We'll
take them out?
pick them up in a bus, and their bicycle gets, picked up too, and we bring them back to the treatment area, let them sit, get some fluids, sit with the misting fan if it's hot, and then they're on their way.
And Bob, you work closely with the police department in setting this up?
Yes, Jim Cosgrove has been very gracious, and the traffic division, Billy Dugan, have been great with us. And for people who are watching and have any safety concerns, we actually have a rolling escort. We have motorcycle policemen following up ahead, behind, and in the middle of the pack. We have 2 or 3 patrol cars, and the police have been fantastic for us.
And Jonathan, the ride that Bob talked about is different. What kind of expectations do you think people are going to say about the new ride this year?
I think they're going to love it. If they've done it the other 3 years, this one is similar, but it's different. In other words, it engages Warrenanka Park, which is kind of a groundwork mission, an Olmsted Park. It's an Olmsted Park, so they're going to go through 2 miles of Warrenanka Park, and I think they're going to love it.
They're going to go all the way around the park?
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
And is it the same amount of miles, Bob?
Yep,
15 miles?
15 miles, which if you're in any reasonable shape, you can do. Like Jonathan said, we had 7 years old people doing it, and people as old as me.
If you are and if you are a child, there is a cutoff point at the halfway point, so they don't have to do the whole thing.
And they can cut off and come back to this starting area.
Which is Union Square.
Union
Yes.
Square.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a block away at the cutoff
That's
area.
right.
Now, what do you do to prepare for the ride, Bob?
Well, 2 weeks ago, I was in Mexico. I rode a 50-mile ride along the Pacific and up the mountains. But basically, I ride about an hour every day, Monday through Friday, and then on weekends I ride 20, 25 miles a day. But that's because I have other races I do. I think if you're riding 2 to 3 miles a day, 5 days a week, you can do this ride relatively easy.